Hey there, Phoenixes. Daniella here, as always, from Redesign Your Life Forever. And tonight, I am taking on my day 29, which, holy moly, this month has gone by so fast. I cannot believe that I have done another 30-day challenge, and that it took me almost a year to do that. But I am almost done with my 30-day challenge. Today is day 29 and tomorrow is day 30, and today I am talking about self-confidence. And as you may have noticed, my hand is blue. There you go. You can see the whole arm there. And I was working on my Halloween costume actually, and it kind of, I was thinking about, am I going to go live with this blue hand? Should I take it off? What are people going to think? These are all things that everybody thinks, and it all comes back around to self-confidence, because I get a lot of comments and questions from you ladies in particular. I know that there are you gentlemen out there in the group, but you pretty much are lurkers, and that's okay. I totally get you. But a lot of ladies ask me, ex-clients, current clients, possible future clients, how do you have so much confidence to go on, and particular during this 30-day challenge, and talk about something, and, you don't worry about fubbing your words or your lines, or, you come on in all kinds of states of dress, and, we see you with your makeup on and without your makeup on, and, how do you just have the confidence to do that? And I can certainly tell you that it wasn't always this way. I can most certainly tell you that it was not always this way. I have spent many years actually putting on even a fake confidence, which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with, where it's like you go out there and you go into the world, especially those of us who are career women, which I was, kind of still am, really. You don't really get rid of that ambition. But for those of us who are career women, we go out there and we have to put on that face. We've got to put on that face of strength. We've got to put on that face of ball-busting confidence, because we're out there competing in a man's world, and all that bulldog. But hey, let me back this up because the camera's a little close to me today. And stemming from that, I had created a false sense of self-confidence. And it wasn't actually a false sense of self-confidence to me. It's just that I made everybody else around me think that I was confident. And it worked. It worked for a long time. Until eventually, energetically, it just got to the point where it was no longer physically sustainable by me. And that led me down a road of, partying and drugs and alcohol and so on and so on and so forth. Like it does sometimes. But basically, burnt the candle at both ends for so long, holding up an image of people, to people, of what I wanted them to see, of who I wanted them to think that I was. And I'm sure a lot of you can resonate, but that is just not sustainable. Not sustainable at all. And I'm sure so many of you know that all too well, that kind of faux self-confidence. Hey, Miss Donna, good to have you here tonight. That kind of faux self-confidence really, not only does it burn the candle at both ends, it's not sustainable. It's not building the foundation upon which real self-confidence rests. So when I get those questions from you in the group, because a lot of you message me, and so if you've been feeling like you've wanted to reach out and message me privately, please feel free to do so, because people, are doing it more and more, and I'm super happy that that's happening, because this is what it's all about. But I'll get messages from you ladies that say, it's like you're so on and so on, thank you for all the compliments, the wonderful compliments that you give me. But then you ask me the questions, it's like, how do you make it look so easy? And the only thing I could say is that it really rests on two things. Real self-confidence as opposed to faux self-confidence. Speaking of, my blue hand coming on with my practice Halloween makeup, which it actually does not look anything like it's gonna look Halloween. This is me playing with my airbrush just to make sure that it works and that the colors that I have still work. Because it's been a while since I've used it. But the two keys, like the things that real self-confidence, at least in my experience, real self-confidence actually rests on. As opposed to that faux self-confidence of holding up that, it's almost like holding up a mirror, that faux self-confidence, because you're just showing them what they want to see. You're not showing them who you really are. Hey, Miss Kelly Weaver. And the two keys to that are self-love, which is something that is not cultivated in faux self-confidence, and self-trust, which is also not cultivated in faux self-confidence. So when you're holding up that visage of who you want people to think that you are, not only are you expending tremendous amounts of energy, like physical, mental, emotional, spiritual energy, your heart energy. Hey, Miss Cindy Lee. Not only are you spending all of that energy, but you are not actively building the building blocks that it takes to have real self-confidence, which is that love for self, which is that trust in yourself. Because now I've been able to get to a point, and this has been a lot of self-work, this has been a lot of experimentation, a lot of play, a lot of screwing it up, a lot of coming on here and, screwing up my words, and being super hyper embarrassed by it, and, taking 20 takes to make a video and then edit it, and, going through all of these phases of learning and exploration for myself. But so what I've been able to narrow it down to is experience with letting your true self shine, whatever that is. Because granted, if you're here, and I'm going to make an assumption here, and please tell me if I'm wrong, but yes, Ms. Donna's saying, I understand that I act for everyone every day. Yes, I have been there, and it is not fun, to say the least. But the thing I can say is that it's been practice and experimentation. It takes that practice and experimentation, that willingness to be yourself, regardless of who you're around. Now, there is an exception to this, because of course there are going to be times when, as someone who is going through their spiritual growth process, that you are going to be experiencing things and coming into contact with information and knowledge that is not mainstream, that is not widely accepted by those people who are not in the same phase of their awakening process as you. If they are indeed an awakening process at all, sometimes it feels like, bless their hearts, that it behooves you to rein some of that in. It does. And I'm not going to deny that, because there are times where it does behoove you to rein some of your light in, so to speak. Because there's going to be times where it's really going to cause you more trouble and anguish and agony and frustration and all the rest of that junk while you're on your journey. Now, there will get to be a point, and I promise you this, there will get to be a point where you can be you no matter where you are, because you will not give a fuck. And I don't mean that in a dismissive way. I mean that you have gotten to a place of such self-love and such self-trust that you do not care what other people think of you in that way. Because if they're going to think negatively about you, at that point, I mean always, but particularly at that point, that is showing you more about how they are holding their own self back and what they really think of themselves more than what they think of you. So use that as your yellow flag, red flag system. is when you start to be more of who you are, who you really are, whether that's playful, whether that's curious. That's right, Miss Cindy Lee, hell yeah. Whatever that is, whatever who you really are is, and that's on the soul level too, because all of us have a little bit different temperament, even as souls, because we've individuated, and that was the whole point, is that we're not all here experiencing the exact same thing as the exact same being in that sense. We've taken on individuation to experience the individuation. So we all have different quirks and things and stuff that we like and things that we don't and blah, 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 blah. But when you get to be whoever you really are, when people start to treat you differently then, and I don't mean just kind of like staring at you like you grew a second head because they're not quite sure what to make of you because you're literally shining so bright that they just don't know what to make of you, and they're not sure whether or not to like approach the subject or not, so they're basically more cautionary in approaching you than anything. Not really talking about those people because they're their own they're in their own segment where they're curious, but they're not comfortable with the fact that they're curious about your light. So that's a whole thing, and we just say bless their hearts and move on. But there are a section of people that are going to treat you poorly because you're shining your light. And again, that is not a reflection on you at all. That is a reflection of their own non-self-love and not self-trust. Because when you get to those two places, you will be in a level of confidence that really nobody can tear down, except for your own self, of course. So it won't matter to you what they think, but it will be a good yellow flag, red flag system for you. Because if you're showing your light and they're treating you poorly, well, obviously you can just write them right off the fucking list, okay? You can get them off the guest list. They don't need to be in your house. They don't need to be in your life. Period. And I know that kind of sounds harsh because unfortunately some of those people are going to be our family and friends. And that does suck. It really, really sucks. But are you going to continue to put yourself through that abuse, to dim your own light while you're around that person just to make them feel better about themselves when they're feeling shitty about them because you are shining your light? So this is what I'm saying. Real self-confidence is not the faux self-confidence that we have so long been trained to have. Because particularly as women, we have been trained. Thank you, Miss Cindy Lee. Yes, that is exactly it. And thank you for championing that. Championing on... blah, blah, blah. See, if I'd have done that years ago, I would have been so mortified, I wouldn't know what to do with myself. But when we get to that place of self-love and self-trust, where it doesn't matter if you screw up. If it doesn't matter if your brain runs a little faster than your mouth, and so sometimes you try and spit out 3 or 4 words at one time. There are people that are going to get you. You know? So you don't have to worry about that other percentage of people that aren't going to get you. And yes, Miss Donna, it can be the hardest thing you do. It will be one of the hardest things you will do. When we're talking about spiritual growth, a lot of it, I do purposefully find ways to make it fun, particularly when, working one-on-one with clients and doing these practices and things and stuff and blah, blah, blah. But there are going to be things that are going to suck a little. Just a little. And losing some of those family and friends are going to be one of them. But yes, just like Miss Cindy Lee is saying, is responding to Miss Donna, is that it is for the greater good of yourself. Because when you've got that self-love and you've got that self-trust, you can't help but be self-confident, real self-confident, and not the kind of self-confidence, that faux self-confidence that we've been taught to have, that's basically a front, that ball-busting front, that it's like, if you fuck with me, I will end you. And I had that for a long time. I mean, my nickname was the Predator for a reason. And it's not just because I could make the sound. Yes, it is called Finding Your Tribe, Miss Donna. And that is literally what we are in the process of doing. And part of why I created this group is so that we can start to find one another. The people that do feel the same, that are going through these kinds of experiences, whether they're not they're exactly the same or not. It's just to have that place where it's like, yes, you know, it's safe to post about this, or it's safe to ask me about this, or, you know, it's like I'm not going to look down on you, and nobody else here is going to look down on you, and if they do, they're out. Because guess what? This is not the time nor the place for that kind of shit. And energetically, it is known scientifically that we are going through a much higher, much higher frequency energy in the solar system, in the galaxy. We are going into a new area of energy. And what's going to happen is the good people are going to get better, as we're going to keep evolving, and the bad people are going to get worse. And when I say bad people, I mean like abusive, narcissistic, self-serving, that kind of junk. And the good people that really genuinely care from their heart and have a good heart and are here to learn to use their heart and learn to use their intuition and communicate with their higher guides and communicate with their higher self and bring about this spiritual evolution via a physical vehicle, which is like the thing, apparently. We're just going to get that calling is going to get stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger until literally, if you don't listen to it, it's going to do you like it did me and knock you in the back of the head with a semi-truck. It started with a brick, and then a 2x4, and then a 4x4, and then it just went with a semi, because it's like, okay, girl, you're not listening. But that is where the self-confidence is coming from. That is why I can come on here and chat with you, or, you know, with a blue hand, or, you know, with my hair all up in my did, because I did my green. It's in there somewhere. That's why I feel like I'm comfortable enough with my own self to come on here in front of 400 people plus and be me. It's a call for you to do the same. If you want help with that, that is what I am here for. If you want to talk about it privately, that is what I am here for. And I offer my time to you. I want to encourage you. I want to inspire you, because if I can do it, okay, if I can get myself out of the shithole I got myself into, if I can get out of that mental, emotional, spiritual shithole that I was in, if I can get out, so can you. Oh, thank you, Miss Donna. Thank you for loving my lives, and I'm so glad that it gives you hope, because this is what it's all about. So that is what it is about. It is about loving yourself enough and trusting yourself enough to have that real self-confidence to the point where you can go on live in front of 400 people, fob your line, blue hand, you know, dropping F-bombs, being wild and crazy and, you know, gesturing and doing you, and still loving yourself, still trusting yourself, still knowing that you are being true to you. And that is one of the best feelings on the face of the planet ever, is coming to know yourself, not as the labels, not as, you know, a white pre-married female American from the South, artist, you know, blah, 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 blah. None of that. But really getting to know and love the real you, the I am, the thing that doesn't have a label, and trusting that thing that doesn't have a label, that you really are, because that is where all of your power originates. All of your power is in the now. It's when you can come to recognize your own strength and your own abilities and your own power, and not needing to look up to some fancy title guru, or not needing to look up to and, you know, buy all their like $10,000 programs and, you know, all of that stuff. Like, I know that exists, and I know people buy into it because they're desperate and they are in need of some kind of answer. I get it. Been there. Okay? I get it. But what I offer is the way for you to get in touch with you. I'm not looking for you to follow me to follow me. I'm looking to you to use me as an example for you to follow you. Do you. Don't do me. Ain't can't nobody do me but me. You got to do you. Because we need more of you and me, but not you doing me. Wait, that sounds bad. But really, that's what it's about. That is what I help hundreds of people do, is get in touch with you, the real you. The you that doesn't care if you go on live in front of 400 people with a blue hand, because that's not really you. And the people that get that, they will resonate with you. And the rest of them, just let them fall. Just let them fall. Because they are in their own place energetically. They are not doing anything really serving you, except for in the case of you learning to let them go. And ask me how hard that lesson was for me. Wow. So that's what it's all about. Self-confidence is about self-love and self-trust in the I am. Not the labels, not the, I'm this political party from this country, from this gender, from this race, blah, blah, blah. And I know a lot of that is coming up now because it's like, Black Lives Matter and Brown Lives Matter and White Lives Matter and these lives matter and, Democrats' lives matter and Republicans' lives matter and everybody's lives matter. That's just a way of getting you to identify with the physical. And as long as you are identifying solely with the physical as who you really are, you're trapped. You are absolutely trapped. You have no manifestation power except for what they tell you that you have. And that simply isn't true. You are an infinite being. You are ultimate consciousness having a physical experience. You can love yourself and it's okay. You can trust yourself and still make mistakes. And it's okay. It's not the end of the world. It literally isn't the end of the world. So take that to heart, my lovelies. Self-confidence is all about that identification with the I am, that true you, that love of self, that trusting, being able to trust yourself enough to, even if you fub your words, even if you go off on a little bit of a tangent, whatever you do, that's you. Just trust it. Because that's you. Lean in. Lean into you. And if this is resonating with you, please feel free to reach out to me. Message me privately. I am always open to all of you ladies and those few gents that are lurking in the background. I am always open to you to have a conversation. I offer my coaching time free for a session to every single one of you in this group. Because that is what it's about. It's not about me getting paid. It's about me helping you find your I am. If we decide we want to work together further to continue, our initial conversation, then that's what we will decide. But that's not what it's about. It's about you getting in touch with the I am. And being able to manifest, being able to be abundant, being able to have whatever you feel like you want to have to live the kind of life that you want to live. If you want to be in touch with the spirits and be a woman out in the woods, fine. We'll get you there. If you want to be a ball-busting businesswoman who actually has real confidence, fine. We'll get you there. If you want to be a spiritual entrepreneur, kind of like me, and kind of like so many of my other clients, like Lynette, she's a fantastic recent client that I've had. She's a Reiki master. She just started all her, re-upped her own business. And, as soon as we got done with our sessions, she had like 14 clients set up in 2 weeks. Fine. We'll get you there. Because it doesn't matter to me where you want to go in that sense. I'm just helping you get to you so you can get there. Because I don't want you to follow me. Don't be me. Be you. All right, my lovelies. Me and my blue hand are getting out of here. I'm going to go alcohol this off now. So that I don't spread this all over my bed sheets. But you all have a fantastic evening. I cannot wait to talk to you for Halloween. That is probably going to be a... thank you, Miss Summer, and thank you, Sonia, for popping in too. That is going to be, I think, an extra freebie that I'm going to do 31 days. Because it just so happens that there's a Halloween on the 31st day, and so I'm not going to miss out on that. And so you will probably, hopefully, get to see me in all of my ridiculous glory in all blue in my outfit, and we will probably come to you from some sort of ridiculous bar that we go to, because that's, you know, what we do. We go out and we enjoy life. And so hopefully you will get to see that. And tomorrow I will be coming to you live for my final day 30. And that's it. Yeah, my loves. I'm going to let you go. Again, if this has resonated with you, please reach out to me. There are so many of you that have been reaching out to me lately that I'm so blessed to be having such a true heartfelt impact in making your lives better. Because if I had had me 10 years ago, girl, I'd be a whole different me. Well, I'd probably be me now, 10 years ago. But obviously that's not the way it was meant to go down, because that's not the way it went down. But that's what I'm talking about. So have a good night. I love you all, and I will see you tomorrow. My blue hand to yours.